Welcome to the Metal Prognosis. My name is Lee, and on today's video, we are looking at an EP that I recorded back in 2016 that sounds like this. And I spent the whole day remixing it, so now it sounds like this. So, cue the cute little cartoon intro, then we'll hop on the computer, pop open the hood, and have a bit of a discussion on how I got from A to B. All right, now I've got everything set up ready to go. What I've got is I've done just a quick bounce of all the old ones, how they were, so the old drums, old bass, guitars, and the vocals, lead, and backing. So we go backwards and forwards and have a quick comparison between them. So I went through and did all of it. So I'll do it in little sections, and you can skip through and because I timestamp all my videos to what interests you the most. So I'll just point out a couple of sections that I found interesting or that really stood out for me from what I recall from starting this morning. So the first thing I did was the drums. I wasn't too happy with the flow of the drums, and well, I've learned a hell of a lot more now. And so I went through and changed all the MIDI for that. And I'm using Steve Slate drums for these. I didn't change that because that's a hell of a lot of work, and they sound decent. So I just did a little bit of a remix with those level-wise, but yeah, the main thing that it changed was the actual grooves. So let's just go to the last song here, and I'll bring up the old drums compared to the new drums, and we'll be able to hear the difference. So if I take out the drums here and put in the old drums, this should work. So got a different intro, a different flow, and we'll just talk about the difference. So that is the original one, and what I decided to do was take it somewhere very different to kind of give it a little bit more attitude and mesh up a little bit better with the riff. This is going to be really interesting because you might think differently. Keyboard's playing up on me. That's all right. It kind of sounds like I went from having a thrash style drummer into a gent type of drummer coming through there. But it's a little bit more groovy, which I think I prefer because later on in the song, we've got a little bit of a cool break here that kicks in. Game of life that you can. And if we even look at the chorus even. Can you hear the silence from the screams? In this game of life that you can't be seen. It's got a little bit of a new metal type of groove to it, which is nothing wrong. But I bring in the old drums now, where it's a little bit more intense and more pushy. Can you hear the silence from the screams? In this game of life that you can't be seen. And I just felt that's a little bit too pushy, and it doesn't give it enough attitude, and it doesn't accent enough of the actual riff and allow the flow rhythmically with the vocals. So that's why I changed that. And as you can see, like, this one I changed, well, this one I kept the little drums from that part there from the original. This track here, I did the whole new drums. This one, once again, just did a couple little sections new. So there's a lot of altering. That's not a bad thing. So if we go to the third track here, just on the subject of drums, we've got this little part that I think is a little bit, well, I really like it now, how it is. There's a bass solo, and originally, and this is coming down to a few different factors. One, I was better with recording acoustic drums back then than I was digital ones. And you'll definitely hear the mixing issue in the old drums that I've got here. And we didn't really, as a band, work well enough together to go, hey, here are each different sections. How do we emphasize each one? How do we lift up and really bring out the emotional journey that we want from this? Instead of just having like a, more of like a supporting section. So let me play the original for you. This is how the original drums went. So very straightforward, very just a straight roll, and then we go into a little bit of a going from the bass solo into the guitar solo. So what I thought would be a little bit more interesting and kind of complement the bass more is I came up with this groove. It pushes it along a little bit more in sync, and I feel like it helps lift the bass up more and really helps with the bass's little accent in its melodies compared to the original snare roll. And if we go back to where the section is where it's got like the tom build up compared to what I did here. So a little bit more complementary to each other, I think is the best way to put it. So that's what I spent the most time in the drums when I came to building it up. The bass is very simple. So let's go to the original bass first. Let's get to the bass where it's something a little bit more interesting than one note. So a little bit, like it's a decent capture, but there's not much really going on with it compared to what I've got happening with it now. Got the dark glass baby on there, and that is brutally amazing on what it can do. Because beforehand, I think I had the Cubase like tube preamp running through it, and compared to this, there's worlds apart. So I've just got that, a limiter on there just to stop a few of the peaks that pop up. And yeah, it's to roll out a little bit of the bottom end there. This is what we're made of now. Whoa. So big difference there. If we go to the guitars next, the guitars had a big improvement. So I was very limited. So I did the guitars with the Line 6 Pod 2.0. So very old school and very, you get what you're given with it. That is it. No, for all the youngsters out there, no third-party IRs and all that. You can set it up these days where you can kind of do it, manipulate it, but back then, it was a different world. Very different. So, I was using what I had. So I had to do a little bit of cleaning up with a few crossfaders and that I didn't do before because it was, I didn't think about it and didn't realize how much that was affecting the sound with little woofs coming through, as I like to call them, where the guitars are overlapping each other with where they're trying to finish but also trying to start. So you get this kind of like a whoo effect that's a little bit overbearing and can screw up your mix. So, I went through and cleaned that up. So here are the guitars how they used to sound. Let's start off with that. So then what I did is I went from that to this. So I think they're a little bit softer, but they're EQ'd a lot more user-friendly for the mix. So the guitars are cutting through more now, even though there's overall a little bit less volume. So all I did is did not that is for the drums. I chucked through here just the SSL to really push it. Just help with the lows and the highs. It's pretty simple. Because if I do this and turn it on and off, I still wanted enough bottom dynamic there, but I really wanted to punch through the mids and the highs a lot more to make it more aggressive and a little bit more punchy. And other than that, I did some pretty crazy EQs with it to once again try to emphasize that mid. So if I just play it again and take that in and out. So you can see here just under the 10K, there's a lot of hiss there that I wanted to get rid of immediately. That was the very first thing I saw where I went, time to go, time to go. And as you can see, there's a big dip there and normally not a problem, but I was listening to what that dip was and I was like, oh, there's some frequencies I really want in the mix. And the low parts here, between 20 and 50, are just a little bit too, it's just a rumble, really. There's no dynamic, positive things to leave that in the mix. So I just pushed a little bit there where I felt it was a little bit more effective and got rid of all just that humming bit of the guitar. And yeah, they sounded, well, I feel like they sound much better. Let's go somewhere else like. See, louder, but not as clearer. So that's what I did with the guitars. There's clean guitars there, but I didn't touch those because, well, not so much I didn't touch them, but the EQing and all that, they worked well for it, and I felt like they didn't need anything else. So yeah, I didn't need to put them through a different bus or muck around. It worked under the same umbrella, if that makes sense. Pretty cool effect on there, which doesn't quite come through the best on playback because let's go here. Let's have a quick look at it because it's got the where is it? I think it's a reverse. Is it a reverse? One of them I'm sure was a reverse. This is a very, very old pedal strip. Very, very old. I'm sure one of them might be this one. Yeah, reverse. Yeah, that's right. So it comes. So when you bounce it down and render it, you'll hear the pre-echo come in before the guitar plays, which is really cool. But it can't really do it on the fly. So yeah, it's much better in the mix compared to now. You only get to feel a little bit of it while it's playing there, compared to as soon as the song starts, you actually hear the pre-delay before the actual guitar kicks in, which is pretty cool. So that's the guitars. Vocals did huge step. So if I remember correctly, the old one I was using the Chris Angle. Let me have a look. So if I just look at my inserts, vocals. Yeah, the Chris Lord vocal plugin thing. There's another ways one. Once again, a little bit dated. Not as bad. It's not bad at all, but I got it many, many moons ago. So I used that one in the original one, which kind of sounded like. Is that the ballad? No, it's not the ballad. Let's bring up. Now I've lost myself. Where are you? Vocals old. No, it's backing old, sorry. Lead old.
All around, once again objectified and put down. Running out of hands to help you up. Once again intensified and knocked down.
So that's where it was coming from. And now we did that, we've gone into this. Let's not go vocals, that bring all the vocals from lead vocals.
I see this going down all around, once again objectified and put down.
So a lot more effect-wise happening in the background, but a lot brighter. And there's a lot more clarity to it. Once again, nothing against the Chris Lord one, because I could probably use that better now compared to what I did back then. But what I decided to use with this one is probably one of the most underestimated vocal plugins that I've ever come across, the Vocal Finalizer. It is brutal, all the things you can do with it. So I put a de-easer on there. Actually, I've got two de-easers running through there. I've got the Cubase one and that one. Don't need both. Come on, I need one. I accidentally put that back on. A doubler to make it a little bit more thicker, which does pretty cool. I got a delay and a reverb. Gave it a little bit more of just a straight mono, just to give it a little bit more on the angles there, which is pretty cool. Compressor, I had that pumping pretty hard. This EQ thing is brilliant how it works. How it just shapes it differently, kind of like the Orange Dark Terror with its EQ parameter thing. It's brilliant. So,
running out of hands to help you up. Once again intensified and knocked down now.
So we're going from this.
And you.
Right, I guess something.
I am sick and tired of this, taking over it, taking over.
So it looks like when I did capture it, it was a little bit gloomy, but what this has done with the brightness is spectacular.
I am sick and tired of this, taking over it, taking over. You are not a hero. You are not a hero. You are not a hero. Not now. You are not a hero. You are not a hero. You are not a hero. Not now.
And I did the same for the backing vocals. So let's have a look at the backing vocals as well. So backing old. Actually, let's bring us some. Oh, I wish I could remember where the fancy part was. She did some amazing stuff with this project. I just can't remember where the hell it was.
Need to justify anything. Pursue the path that From the river to the sea.
Maybe this one.
I see. I hear.
So I went from that, using the Chris Lord one as well. And then we're going into, where's the backing? Into here. Oh, it went back just a little bit too far.
I see. I hear. Can you hear the silence from the screams in this game of life where you can't be seen?
So once again, using the finalizer, and nothing else with this one actually. Yeah, didn't touch any of the EQ there. It was pretty smooth enough as with what it was. Didn't need a de-easier. Took out the double because with the backing we had a lot of, as you heard, like different stereo ones going anyway, so I didn't want to kind of over busy it. But the difference between them is this is, once again, a lot brighter, a lot more clarity to it. But I love the effects that it has with the different stereo width and the different like reverb style of cathedral aspect that it kind of, all the emotion I get from it anyway.
Can you see the forest from the trees in this game of life where you can?
And normally I would say that's too much wetness compared to the dry with the vocals. But in the actual mix, it blends in beautifully.
You've lost the speech from where they stand.
And I bring that in with the main vocals.
They have lost the speech from where they stand. Long for conversations to ascend.
And everything.
Break the silence to hear another tale. Last time what was yesterday. Can you hear the silence from the screens in this game of life that you can't be seen? Can you see the forest from the trees in this game of life that you?
All right, let's make ourselves a bit bigger now. So that was a real fun project to do, to run through today, because I kind of mentioned it in another video, which I should go back and do this, because I did I think I did a audio assault EQ thing on the drums, to check it out, I think it was. Or I can't remember actually, but I used something on it for this, so I thought, oh, let's actually go through and do the whole thing, which wasn't really that hard because they're all, as you saw, one after the other. But yeah, it's nice to know how far I felt like I've come anyway on being so limited with what I've captured and where I can actually take it now compared to how far I took it before. So one of the biggest issues I had with this project when it first got done was we rushed it. We definitely rushed it as a band. I think we spent a day doing the backing vocals, a day doing guitar and vocals, another day doing the bass, and another day doing the drums. And then that night I mixed it and it went off to the mastering place. So I didn't really give it much of a chance to progress and to really push it further. But in saying that, it did help in a lot of ways because, well, it's nice now to do things like this. But after I did this project for the album that we did after this, I decided, all right, I'm not going to use the Line 6 Pod 2 anymore because I was using that for about 15 years for a lot of recordings, and decided to adventure elsewhere and try different things. And that's where I tried out, I don't know if you can see it down there, I got my 11 rack, which I used for the album. And yeah, I pushed that with the SSL EQ channel strip as well, and really helped push that, and that made a huge difference. But even like with the vocals, like doing this, pretty much if it wasn't for Cam doing the backing vocals, it would have been a fifth of good of what it is now. She really brought it to life, and I love working with her, and I love the work that she does, not only for this project, but she does for herself, because she's got a really good solo career going at the moment. So it was a pleasure also to go through and listen to all her stuff again and really bring it up and help push it and emphasize more on what it was intended to do when it was very first composed and put together. So it was a pleasure. It was a pleasure going through it again. Yeah, my vocals on this are very weak, but that's just my lack of skills as a vocalist. And that is not my forte, that is not where my strengths are. So if you've heard any of my other latest stuff that I've been working on now, where I'm not doing vocals, I'm concentrating purely on guitar and music, they are worlds apart. So yeah, but not to say that this is really bad, it's just I've accepted where best to lean in on and where to back off from as a musician and as a composer. So there we have it. That is a quick A-B comparison to what it was before to where it is now. And I'll try to figure out a way, if there's a link in the description below, I've done it correctly. If there isn't, I'm working on it. I'll see if I can get this original EP session available for you to download. So you can download it, you can go through and do your own mix and see how far you can take it, how much you can push it. And if you are super keen, do a YouTube video on it and copy me in. Or notify me some way so I know it's there and we can check it out. Yeah, I'd be super keen to see if you're not so much confident, because you can use it just to practice with as well. But yeah, if you've heard any ideas or heard anything while going through this video that triggered a thing to go, no, Lee, I will do it differently. You might think it's better, and you're right. For your taste, your style, and your comfortable approach to it, it actually is. It is better. I can't dispute that. So definitely give it a crack. Yeah, and see how it goes. This could be fun if I get a few different ones and we can do a bit of a comparison video to see how they sound compared to each other as well. So thank you very much for joining me in this. Hopefully I hear from everyone later on who wants to actually go ahead and do a mix of it and test themselves or just have a bit of fun. And I thoroughly look forward to chatting with you next time. And until next time, stay safe.